Salutations, Ian.
Oh, hey Rusty. You're not here to bang my computer again, are you?
No, I overheard your exasperated exhalations and entered so as to ascertain if I may provide fellowship for you.
You're so warm.
I am not. I merely live with the understanding that, as Sartre said, one is still what one is going to cease to be, and already what one is going to become. One lives one's death and dies one's life. As such, I feel uniquely qualified if you are in need of another who relates to our mental anguish.
I'm just still adjusting to not having an arm. Honestly, having your limbs ripped off really isn't all it's cracked up to be.
I assumed you would be more enthusiastic to more closely resemble Luke Skywalker.
You've seen Star Wars?
Yes, since you educated me as to how the Transformers are to be admonished, I have systematically been watching every piece of media ever made featuring robots so as to find more apt role models.
BB-8's pretty dope.
The Buster Keaton of the robot world. His slapstick antics irritate me. I connect more emotionally with the gonk droid on the Sandcrawler, as well as Victoria, Vicky, and Smith Lawson of Small Wonder Note.
So, have you seen The Last Jedi yet? You know, there's an evil BB-8 in it.
His name is BB-9E, and yes, I have viewed this film.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I found the aversion and anger most humans directed towards the Porgs prior to seeing this movie unfounded and ultimately unwarranted.
That's it?
What more is there to say?
Oh, tons. And you know what? I'm actually glad you've seen it, because we can then, talk about spoilers without worrying at all.
Agreed. Moving forward, feel unencumbered when discussing spoilers.
You know, in my opinion, Star Wars fans tend to overanalyze and nitpick and refuse to say outright if they liked things initially or not. Most people leave these movies all, I don't know if I want to say if I like it or not. I'm going to need to process what I've seen. Maybe like after I see it 10 more times, then I'll let you know that I don't like it. But not me. I'm an opinionated hero who's going to give it to you straight. I fucking loved this movie. The Last Jedi was an exceptional movie overall. For me, I never minded that The Force Awakens was like a rehashing of A New Hope, with the proviso that I could renege on that opinion as long as every movie in this new trilogy didn't do the same thing. And while there were some moments that were similar to those from Empire and Jedi, like the confrontation with Snoke definitely harkened back to the confrontation with the Emperor, and the fight on Crate felt similar to the fight on Hoth, and yes, Luke trained Rey and Yoda trained Luke, but the execution and the outcomes were all different. It was far from another soft reboot / rehashing. Furthermore, the bare-bones basic, larger story of the movie was very unique. It focused on the First Order slowly pursuing the Resistance fleet and simply waiting out their ship's fuel consumption so they could just blow it away when the shields were gone. It felt very Game of Thrones, we'll starve out the castle rather than engage in a battle. It was different and simple, and I liked it. Overall, and most importantly, it just felt like Star Wars. It's hard to put it exactly into words what that means, but fans know it when they see it, and more importantly, we know it when we don't see it. And we all know how much that can suck. But this movie never fell into those trappings. It pulled off feeling like Star Wars. Flatly, this movie is better than Holiday in Handcuffs by a mile.
Are there robots in Holiday in Handcuffs?
Other than Mario Lopez? No. So just so you know, earlier, I lied. It's time to talk about fucking nitpicks. First off, here's something that sucked. None of my predictions came true. Rey wasn't a Kenobi, and the Millennium Falcon didn't explode. I thought both of those things were fucking shoo-ins. They didn't happen, so I don't like that about the movie. And that is absolutely a reasonable thing to be angry about. I did, however, really like the way that Kylo Ren killed Snoke. I thought that was pretty fucking dope. It was just like a simple trick. Didn't have to be a big showdown or anything. It wasn't The Hobbit 3, The best part of The Hobbit was this right here. And unfortunately, they kept the fucking battle going. That would have been the coolest way for him to defeat that white orc guy, whatever his fucking name was. But they didn't do it. But they did something like that in this, and that was fucking cool. So, I liked that. Oh, here's something I liked. The expansion of the Force powers. It's tough with Force powers to not go overboard with them. I remember reading once online in some expanded material that, like, some Jedi master had the ability to make other people vomit and shit themselves with the Force. It was one of the most laughably stupid ideas I'd ever heard. In this movie, Leia uses the Force to preserve herself from death in space. Snoke uses it to make Rey and Kylo Ren talk across the universe. Kylo uses it to choke people. Oh, and Luke uses it to create an astral projection of himself. I thought all of these were pretty simple and obvious expansions of what someone could do with the Force, and are just such better ideas than being able to make someone shit themselves. Hey, speaking of those astral projections, here's something that I thought was stupid. The editing when Luke dies. See, Luke basically saps all his energy to do that, and it kills him, which is fine. But the way they convey this is by having him hover in the air. Oh, I guess you can use the Force to make you hover now, kind of, too. Anyway, he stops using his power, right? And he falls to the ground, and his projection fades away. Then he gets up and sits down, and then Luke himself disappears like Yoda in Jedi. It was fucking dumb. Why not have him disappear along with his astral projection?
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
It was like, oh, he's dead. Oh no, he's not. Good, Luke's back. I love Luke. Oh, wait, no, he is fucking dead. I was right the first time. He's not Michael Myers. He's Luke Skywalker. Have him go out more poetically. It's bullshit, and it's bad storytelling, in my opinion, and I am an expert storyteller.
Hey, check it out! Check out these new shoes I got! Check it out!
Also, tangent time. Colloquially, we always call Return of the Jedi just Jedi. But now that The Last Jedi is out and it's good, which do we call Jedi for short? I mean, if the movie sucked, we'd just move on from it and continue calling Return of the Jedi Jedi. But that's not really an option, is it? And I'm sure that your immediate response is, well, we obviously will continue calling Return of the Jedi Jedi because it's been established. But in like 15, 20 years, it's not going to feel that way anymore. We're all going to have watched this movie 1,000 times over and over. Think long term here. What do we do? This is a serious fucking conundrum. We can't call them just like Return or Last. Those are stupid names. I don't know. I'm torn.
I have never understood the human desire for abbreviation and suggest always using full titles to avoid this confusion.
Here's something that was stupid. When they're on crate, some random extra leans down and touches the earth and tastes it and is like, it's salt. Stupid fucking line. First off, don't pull what they did at the beginning of the stuff, where people just start eating the ground without knowing what it is.
What the hell is this? So smooth. That tastes real good.
Maybe it's not straight up salt. Maybe it's Creation salt, which makes you shit your eyeballs out. You don't know, bro. And beyond the stupidity of this character's actions, it was annoying because it had nothing to do with anything. It was just the director's way of showing off how well developed the idea of this crate planet was and being like, sure, it's an all-white planet and we're having a ground battle on it, but it's not snow, so it's totally different from Hoth. I've James Cameron's Avatar style totally figured out this planet. Whoopity fucking do. Oh, a line I did like, however, came from Finn when he was fighting Phasma. They'd been calling the Resistance rebel scum throughout the whole movie, and Phasma got knocked down and called Finn scum. And I thought to myself, I think that was just one too many scums throughout this movie for me. But then Finn owned the moniker and was like, yep, rebel scum, all proud and shit. And I was like, oh shit, you just won me back with that one, Finn. You fucking rule. Back to my thoughts on Crate. When Luke shows up there at the end, there is this ridiculous moment of expository dialogue where Poe Dameron has this realization while Luke's confronting Kylo Ren, where he says, oh, I know what he's doing. He's buying us time so we can escape. It was really fucking lame and dumbly spelled out for just stupid people. Get that line out of there. I hated it. Then he continues on to say, well, he came in here some way, so there must be another way out. The convenience of this moment was too much for me. There's no escape when the script needs them to be trapped in there, and when it needs them to be able to escape, suddenly there is a way out. Also, what Poe says isn't true. Luke projected himself in there. He didn't project himself to the secret entrance out of the back of the base, move some rocks with his mind, make his spirit form enter, and then move the rocks back. That didn't happen. He just Barbara Eden'd his image in there. And why didn't anybody look for the exit in the first place? Someone just said at one point that there wasn't an exit, and everyone just shrugged and was like, that must be true. Obviously, the original rebels built this place, and, they built it with only one way in or out. They just believed this doofus who said so. It's a silly thought. And then when they found it, it was just like at the back of the base. It wasn't even hard to find. It was just over there. Like when you're looking for your glasses and they're on your head. And why wouldn't Luke tell anyone his plans? It was ridiculous. Why, when he's chit-chatting with Leia, wasn't he like, oh, by the way, there's a way out of here, so you can get everyone out through that while I buy them some time because I'm going to go confront Kylo Ren. Oh, and if I die, it's no biggie because I can come back as a blue ghost whenever I feel like and make lightning zap trees. Oh yeah, that's another new Force power. Yoda puppet showed up to school Luke on how much better he was with the Force and goof on him a bunch, and then he snapped his fingers and shot some lightning even though he's in ghost form. What? Yoda's baller! Anyway, back to the question at hand. Why would Luke make everyone just figure out what he's up to? Rather than letting them know what the plan is. It was fucking rude. You know what? Luke is rude. Actually, Luke is rad. You really felt what an advanced Jedi master he was in this movie. I loved it. Even more, I really liked the characterization of him. I knew they'd be making him like grizzled and such, as he'd been through some shit with Kylo killing everybody. And that's understandable, but they still kept him essentially Luke. At times he was funny and plucky and bright, and it was great. They didn't push him too far into the mad hermit thing to the point that he didn't even feel like the original Luke anymore. Kudos. Oh, and Billie Lourd was in this movie a lot more than the last time, and I like that because she's smoking hot and the second best character on Scream Queens.
I don't trust anyone who doesn't have at least one sex toy in their nightstand.
After Chad Radwell. And Chad Radwell should be in Star Wars.
When I find a gravestone I like, I get turned on and I rub one out to it.
Something I didn't like, the Resistance is hiding in the base, and the AT-ATs, or whatever they're fucking called, are slowly approaching it with a super weapon to blow it apart. And some dickhead character, who I can't remember who it was, hopefully it wasn't Billie Lourd's character, says something to the nature of, it's miniaturized Death Star tech. Get that line out of there. Do we really need another movie that ends with a Death Star? This movie's overall plot was streamlined to a more simple story than the last one, and that was cool. And then they had to be like, oh, and there's a Death Star in this one still. Or anyway, we're calling this giant laser here a Death Star so you shit munchers can be happy because you get your fucking Death Star. Why couldn't it just be a big fucking laser threat? And we don't have to refer to it as a Death Star at all in any capacity. I'm fairly certain the vast majority of fans like me are sick of the fucking Death Star. There are millions of things to be done in this universe besides telling stories about the Death Star. Stop it! Anyway, I really liked when Finn was gonna go all kamikaze and destroy the thing like Randy Quaid style. And I was super fucking annoyed when Rose stopped him by smashing into him. I would have liked it if he actually fucking took that thing out. But I guess she had a crush on him. She needed to keep him alive so that the fucking laser could kill a bunch of people in the base. Way to go, Rose. I mean, it's like, what if Sam Neill had stopped Laura Dern from doing the same thing earlier in the movie? It would have sucked. And by the way, that moment was awesome. When Laura Dern fucking took out the dreadnought, I was like, fuck yeah! And just as far as like how they portrayed it, it was cool as shit. Although, when Finn and Rose kissed, that was cute. I'm definitely shipping those two hard.
For quite some time, I have been relationshiping IG-88 and TC-14. I think their coupling would be extraordinarily appropriate.
Oh, and, by the way, regarding the Porgs, you're spot on. They were delightful.
What character from the Star Wars universe do you believe would make the optimal relationship partner for a Porg?
Oh, easy. Salacious Crumb. The Porgs keep hanging out with Chewie even after seeing him roast and eat a couple of their friends. They obviously go for the bad boys. Hey, look at you asking silly Star Wars questions. I told you there was more to talk about with this movie.
Accurate. I have enjoyed this extended conversation.
Ditto. Helped me forget about my missing fucking arm for a couple minutes.
A thought occurs to me. I will now leave, but shall return shortly.
Do you, bro? I'm pretty sure Silk Stockings is on anyway. What's this?
An offering which I believe may help alleviate your grief. Initially, I purchased what is known as a power glove with the intent of asking you to attach it to my frame, yet I have reached the conclusion that you would benefit more greatly from its adhesion. Perhaps you could create a robotic arm as you created me and attach it to your body.
I'll be even more like Luke. I'm definitely going to work on this. It'll probably take some time because I've only got one arm, but thanks, Rusty. You know, in return, if you want, take the computer.
I accept.
Hey, everybody. It's me, the Gonk Droid. Just telling you that you should, follow Ian on Twitter, repost this, and do some other stuff, too. Oh, and just for fun, I thought I'd play for you this little song that he just made up for no reason while recording this episode. It's really weird. He's a weirdo. Check this out. I've got an itchy leg. You've got an itchy mouth. Put your mouth on my leg, and then they will not itch.